السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله تعالى بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وانعم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين اللهم اجعلنا منهم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي السلام عليكم. We start by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We testify and we believe that He is alone worthy of worship and that Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, is His last messenger sent to mankind and to all creation. I'd like to start by giving a attitude and a feeling of thankfulness for this day. Thankful that we woke up today healthy and safe. Thankful that we woke up on this most blessed day of the week, Jum'ah, the day of Friday, and that we are in the most blessed place to be on the day of Jum'ah, which is in the masjid, and we are here at the most blessed time, which is Salat al-Jum'ah. We thank Allah for that, and we say Alhamdulillah wa shukru lillah. I would also like to say that, mashallah, I see very many familiar faces in the crowd, and that is actually because I consider myself a son of this community. I grew up in this community, literally telling some of my friends and my family that I literally learned to read Quran in this community, in this masjid. And to be invited back here to speak to all of you is an honor that I am eternally grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. And I wanted to say thank you, not just because I feel that it's upon me and it's my duty to say thank you, but also because it's an attitude that I feel breeds happiness. Thankfulness breeds happiness. Thankfulness breeds contentment. And thankfulness is a characteristic, is an attitude that every one of us should carry with us, always. The Prophet ﷺ, he gives in a very beautiful hadith, he mentions thankfulness and he mentions patience. Thankfulness and patience. Prophet ﷺ says, عَجَبًا لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ إِنَّ أَمْرُهُ كُلَّهُ خَيْرٌ إِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ سَرَّاء شَكَرَ فَكَانَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ ضَرَّاء صَبَرَ فَكَانَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ. Prophet ﷺ says that the affairs, the happenings of the believer, of the Muslim are amazing. عَجَبًا. They are amazing. Why is that? Because everything that happens to the believer is good. Everything that happens to the believer is good. إِنَّ أَمْرَهُ كُلُّهُ خَيْرٌ. That verily everything in the life of the believer is khair, is good. Even the apparent bad, even what on the outside, on the face of it may look like difficulty or bad, Prophet ﷺ says even that is good. And he explains, why is this? He says that إِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ سَرَّاء شَكَرَ فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. If good comes to the believer, to him or her, he or she is thankful. So when they wake up on Jum'ah, and when they are able to make it to the masjid, and when they are able to pray the most blessed prayer of the week, they are thankful for that. كَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. It's good for that person, it's good for that believer. وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ ضَرَّاء صَبَرَ فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. And when apparent difficulty or apparent bad comes to the believer, they are patient. They are patient, and it is good for them. Because we know that even in your being patient over calamity, even in your being patient over difficulty, over tests and trials, over problems with your family, problems with your schooling, with your job, with whatever it may be, in that patience is reward for you. Simply by you being patient and holding on to your faith and trusting that Allah has a plan for you, in that attitude, just that state of mind, just having that state of mind, you are rewarded for it. And that is a good deed that is written with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ is telling us that the believer is in between two stages, two mentalities all the time: thankfulness and patience. And when they find themselves in between this spectrum of thankfulness and patience, and they don't go beyond, the extremes of these retainers, let's call them, no matter what happens to the believer, it is good. No matter what happens to you and me, it is good. When we trust in Allah's plan, when we are grateful for the blessings, and when we are grateful for the tests, and we are patient when Allah gives us lots of blessings and He tries to see what we are going to do with them, when we are patient and we analyze and we act accordingly to the way we believe Allah will be most pleased with, that is good for us. And when we are patient over difficulties, that is good for us. So when we speak about a hadith like this, and we speak about verses of the Quran, it should be, ideally, that's enough for us to hear, right? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this, the Prophet ﷺ said this. So for the believer, this is really all they need to know. That Allah said this, the Prophet ﷺ said this, سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. We believe it, we hear and we obey. That's all we need. Right? But stories, subhanAllah, they always help, right? And this is why in the Quran, it's filled with stories. Right? And the wisdom of that, as scholars tell us, is that we are able to relate to the lessons by seeing how the lessons play out. Right? So I'd like to actually share a story with you all today. A personal story that I experienced myself. When we talk about the stories of the Sahaba and of the scholars and of the prophets, alayhimu salatu wasalam, they're great stories and they are the best of stories. And we have no doubt about that. And they involve the best of people. Unfortunately, sometimes, because they are the best of people, we feel we may never be able to live up to that. So I want to tell you a story in our times that I saw, that I witnessed. 2 years ago, through my work with, I work with, alhamdulillah, and I'll mention this a little bit later, I work with an organization called Zakah Foundation. We do humanitarian work all over the world. So a couple years ago, I had the blessing, the opportunity, to go to Turkey and to Jordan and to visit some of our programs, some of the work that we do with people in need all around the world. So specifically, I was in Turkey, and then I went for a few days to Jordan. During my time in Jordan, I was able to go and visit some orphans. We have some, orphan facility where we take care of the orphans, provide them what they need. And I specifically met a brother and sister. Their names were Hind and Muhannad. Hind at the time was about 10 years old. Muhannad at the time was about 8 years old. Hind and Muhannad are from Syria, and they have gone to Amman, to Jordan, the city of Amman in Jordan. They have gone there as refugees from the war in Syria. If you actually go on YouTube, you can actually search Zakah Foundation Story of Hind, and you'll see the girl, and you'll actually hear her tell her story, and you hear our workers talking about her story. But I'm going to give you a little bit of detail that's not in that video. Detail that I personally myself saw and experienced firsthand. So I went and I sat with these children, and the last surviving member of their family actually is their grandmother. So it's the boy, Muhannad, his sister Hind, and their grandmother. And through the work of the Zakah Foundation, they are actually able to live in a home, and we take care of costs and support them in financially in the ways that they need. And I sat with these kids. Now again, I want to remind you, Hind is 10 years old, Muhannad is 8 years old. So I'm sitting and I'm talking the stories about an 8-year-old boy. So a few days before I went to Jordan, I was, as I mentioned, in Turkey. And I bought these, like this bracelet that I'm wearing right here. I bought a few of these little beads. They don't mean much, right? To us at least. So when I was there, I was wearing two of these bead bracelets. And subhanAllah, I was with those kids for maybe about an hour and a half max. Within like the first 20 minutes, I just had so much love for these children. They were so happy, and they were so grateful, and they were so content. If I told you that they were refugees of the Syrian war, and if I told you the details that I cannot tell you on this minbar, on a recorded lecture of what happened to their family, if I told you that, you yourself, me myself, would not be able to handle and see the things that those two children saw with their own two eyes. Allah. But these kids, if I told you that happened to them, you would not believe me. I didn't believe it when I sat with them. That what happened to their parents happened to their parents, and their family happened to their family in front of them, and they witnessed it with their own two eyes. So in my first 20 minutes sitting with them, these happy, grateful kids, I took off the bracelets and I gave each one of them a bracelet. I said, this is for you and this is for you. All I want you to do is whenever you see this bracelet, make dua for me. That's what I told them. Hind, the girl, sister Hind, she says, oh, thank you so much. She wears it, she goes and shows her grandmother, oh, look what I got, this is from Turkey. It's, she's very happy with it. Muhannad, on the other hand, 8-year-old boy, he didn't want to take it. Or he took it initially, but then he kept trying to give it back to me. So I'm like, back and forth with this kid for like 10 minutes trying to make him take my gift. And his grandmother even tells him, Ayib ya habibi, you have to take it. Like, it's inappropriate for you to deny a gift from somebody. You have to take it. It's even from the sunnah, right? So I was like shocked. Like, why does this kid not want my gift? Like, did I offend this kid? Did I do something wrong? So his grandmother, when she heard me asking, why don't you want to take it? He says, again, I remind you, this kid is 8 years old. When I asked him why he would not take my gift, he said, it's not that I don't want to take it. He says, I want to give you a gift. This 8-year-old boy, who was a refugee of war and is an orphan, refused to accept my gift because he wants to give me a gift back. This is gratitude, this is patience. Exemplified in an 8-year-old boy, an orphan boy, a refugee of war. He only has what the organization provides for him in the first place. And he says, I want to give you a gift, Abdelhamid. I don't want your gift, I want to give you a gift back. The story ended happy, he ended up taking the gift, but this is the mentality that we're supposed to have, in between gratitude and patience, in between thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the good that we have and being patient over the difficulties. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, مَنْ أَصْبَحَ مِنْكُمْ مُعَافًا فِي جَسَدِهِ آمنا في سربه عنده قوت يومه فكأنما حيزت له الدنيا. The Prophet ﷺ says, whoever of you wakes up physically healthy, feeling safe and secure from harm, and has his food and provision for that day, It is as if he has been given the entire dunya. It is as if he has been given the world and everything in it. My dear brothers and sisters, I ask you, how many of us have that and much, much, much more? How many of us wake up feeling safe? The thought of a bomb dropping on our home doesn't even cross our mind. We are healthy. Even if we struggle with our health, we are able to make it here today. We're healthy enough to be here at Jum'ah. And we are not worried about our food and our provision. How many of us woke up with that and much more than that? The Prophet ﷺ says, if you wake up with just that, just your health, just your food for the day, and just feeling safe, that's all you need. It is as if you have been given the entire dunya. If you have a roof over your head, and you have running sewage, you have water running and plumbing in your home, you are of the top 1% in the world. Travel, and many of you have traveled, you've seen other places in the world, and you can testify to what I'm saying, that living in this land, the level of access to privilege, to easy living, to convenience. We have stores that are called convenience stores, okay? The level of access that we have is simply not the case in other places in the world, even for some people in our lands. And the Prophet ﷺ says, if you just have the basics, that is more than enough. That is more than enough to be grateful for. And when Allah tests you and He lessens what may look like on the outside, when He lessens, maybe your wealth, or when He tests you at school, when He tests you at your work, or with your family, with your wife, your husband, your children, with your parents, whatever it may be, that's when you show the other side. That's when you show your patience. That's when you show that you truly believe that no matter what happens to you, I am not in control, and you are not in control, but Allah is in control. That's when you show that you truly believe that. When you trust in Allah's plan. Right? The Prophet ﷺ, he says that patience is in the first moment. Right? Because when a loved one of hers died, and he goes and he tries to console her, and she just kind of snaps back at him. What does he tell her? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he says that patience is in that first moment, when you are first afflicted, when you are first tested. How you react then, that shows a lot about us. That shows a lot about you and me. And with this, I will end the first part of the khutbah. Astaghfirullah li wa lakum wa li sa'il muslimina min kulli dhanbin fastaghfiruhu innahu huwal ghafurur rahim. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. As I alluded to in the first part of the khutbah, alhamdulillah, I am here on behalf of Zakah Foundation of America. We are an international relief and development humanitarian organization. We work in over 40 countries around the world and locally here in the United States, doing relief and development work, trying to sever the ties of poverty and the cycles of poverty that we see occur so much in so many places in the world. It's been about a month now, and I assume everybody in this room has at least heard of the town, of the suburb called Ghouta in Syria. SubhanAllah, if I was here 2 months ago and I mentioned Ghouta, maybe many of us would not even know what that place is. But today, I assume that probably everybody in this room knows. For the last 4 weeks, roughly a month, bombs have dropped, missiles have dropped, bullets have dropped in Ghouta non-stop, consistently for the last month. An estimated over 1,500 people have died, many, if not most of them, innocent children. 3 of those people who died were my colleagues from Zakah Foundation. They were there in Ghouta, distributing aid and taking care of the orphans. The situation is so bad that actually we only know the name of one of those 3 workers. The situation is so bad that no one is able to communicate with us in a reliable manner who the other 2 were. This is how dire, how extreme, how much of an emergency situation we are dealing with right now. The one man who we do know about, his name was Muhammad. He's 30 years old. He has 3 kids. His nickname is Abu Salama. Abu Salama was working in Ghouta, and look at the irony, subhanAllah. He was working in Ghouta doing 2 things: distributing aid and registering orphans for Zakah Foundation to take care of. While he was in a building doing his work, in a building next to them, a missile hit, and obviously you hear that. So he left the building, he rushed out, and he goes to save people from the rubble, to save people who are essentially on the brink of death. While he's doing that, another missile hits, and he loses his life, rahimahullah. He loses his life. While he was registering orphans for our program, for our orphan sponsorship program, his kids became orphans. And now they are registered in our orphan sponsorship program. They are being taken care of by donors like you. This is the irony. This is the world that Allah has given us. This is the test of gratitude and of patience. When we hear things like this, do we trust that it's ultimately in Allah's plan? That ultimately, even though we may not understand it, on the apparent it may look so bad and so evil, do we trust that Allah has something better in store? I come here today telling you there is a way to help. Telling you that the news that you have heard and the things that you have heard and the horrible stories that you have heard are true. And I am here to tell you that you can help and that you can make a difference. And that today is your opportunity to make a difference in the life of someone else. It is your opportunity to make a difference in the lives of the children of Abu Salama and of children like Hind and Muhannad who have had everything taken away from them except their faith. I am here to tell you today that today is your opportunity to do good for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The way that Abu Salama met Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in service to other people, let us all ask ourselves, how do we want to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When we were giving opportunities to serve His creation, what did we do? My colleagues and I are outside. We're not going to do any fundraising. I'm not going to ask you for any money. We have envelopes, these donation envelopes outside. We will be in the lobby. We have a table outside. If you would like to donate, we are there. We are there. We're there to answer any question that you may have. And know that this is your opportunity to do good, to do service for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I end with that. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik wa an'im ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم ارزقنا العفو والعافية في الدنيا والآخرة. ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين والكفر والكافرين والظالمين ودمر أعداءك وأعداء الدين. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم واخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا معهم أبدا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وتوفنا مع الأبرار. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك وعلى طاعتك دائما أبدا. أقم الصلاة.